Thank you guys for coming back this evening and listening to my second speech for my communication class. Um, Tonight I want to talk to you guys about how you can get to not pay any taxes, how you can get all the same benefits, how you can have free health care, how you can get federal financial assistance, and the answer to that is to be here illegally. It does not, it benefits very much the person that's here illegally to do so. They get a lot of incentives. And I want to let you guys know exactly how much it costs. Um, I've dealt with the healthcare side of things in the pharmacy. We see it a lot. Um, and then I've done some research to see, just exactly how much the numbers are. And then there's some things that we can do to try to prevent this. It costs there's an estimated amount of 635,000 illegal immigrants here in the state of North Carolina. That comes with an education cost of $975 million per year for the children of those illegal immigrants. $74 million a year is spent on language barrier programs and classes for those students. Their health care is a pretty close second. There's $209 million a year in the state of North Carolina that is spent on health care, Medicaid, different programs for the kids and for the families of those here illegally. There's also a high cost of incarceration. There's $49 million a year in the state of North Carolina that's spent on incarcerated individuals who are eligible for deportation. A lot of that has to do with the cost and the time for the federal government to come out and do that. So unfortunately, a lot of times the state absorbs all these costs. On the other side of that, as a U.S. citizen, the government expects us to pay our taxes. They expect us to obey all the laws, kind of regardless of what they are. You're expected to do right. There's different agencies like the IRS that will audit you, make sure you're doing what you're supposed to, and check into it. The Bible does tell us to respect the authority of our government. God has placed them there as our authority. We're supposed to respect them. In Titus 3:1, it says, "Remind the believers to submit to the government and its officers. They should be obedient, always ready to do what is good." And over in Romans 13, verse 1, it says, "Everyone must submit to governing authorities, for all authority comes from God, and those in positions of authorities have been placed there by God. So anyone who rebels against authority is rebelling against God." With that being said, not that being here illegally, everybody wants a better chance for themselves. There's different reasons. But it's putting the American citizen who is trying to be law-abiding in a worse position, and it's costing the state a lot of money. Money that those here legally don't have to pay the taxes on. They're not putting money into that system. It's the citizens that are doing what they're supposed to. Therefore, the American citizens aren't necessarily getting the programs back for them. It's not helping them as taxes are meant to do, because nobody really likes to pay taxes, but they like the benefits when they get those benefits properly. We like the roads maintained and different things like that. So they're a necessary evil, but when you're spending so much giving them to people who aren't putting into it, it causes a real problem. So what can we do? That's the big question. If you have a problem, you need to know what you can do about it. As being citizens, we have the power to vote. Sometimes on the larger scale of things, nationally it doesn't seem to make as big of a difference, but statewide and especially locally, we can definitely put people into power and take people out. There's programs like E-Verify, where employers can go onto websites and make sure that those people that they're hiring are U.S. citizens, and we need to push for our legislature and especially our local governing people in the state to make employers, make it mandatory for them. Even the really small business people, it's not a huge cost for them. It is a little bit of an expense, but it will definitely pay back, tenfold in making sure that they're here, the workers are here correctly. Also, state Medicaid and DMV should have stricter regulations on who can get those services. Medicaid should be verifying. They can use the E-Verify system. From what I understand with reading it, they should be checking into that. The DMV in North Carolina has actually started issuing licenses to people that are here illegally, as long as they can prove residence for a year. which is not really helpful. I think those authorities should notify the correct people if they know that there's a problem. However, they're not going to if it's not mandated. So we need to be writing, calling, the local government, making sure that they know that that's what the people want. Because if people don't want it, push for it, they're not going to do it. But especially on that smaller scale, we do have the capability to do that. So I know that people come here, and to an extent, everyone was an immigrant at some point in time. Their families were. However, everybody went about it, a different way. And things change over time, but our country at the same time needs to have laws, and they need to enforce them. If you don't have enforceable laws, then they're of no good, and they can't just change because it's hard to enforce. If it's what's best for the people, then it's what should be done, even if it's a lengthy process. If it's what's best, it's what's best. And we need to hold our government accountable. If we don't, they're not going to do anything about it. So I know I like my tax dollars to go to what I need it to go for. And the best way to do that is just to keep at it until things get changed. So thank you guys for listening. Let's go eat some shepherd's pie.